just as much fun as it ever has been in the best of times. And then when we started working on this record, that enthusiasm carried over. And it was really then that we started to think in a much longer term. Rather than record to record, we were thinking 3, 4, 5 records into the future. And that's exciting for us. It's been really a long time. But we've learned over the past year or so that touring can still be fun if it's done properly and you have the right attitude about it. And recording was never really a problem. We always enjoyed recording. But we're becoming more efficient at that, and we're enjoying it more because of that. You know, we're better prepared, and we're taking a slightly more laid-back, easy attitude about it, rather than being so microscopic and meticulous about the placement of every single note and beat. It's kind of kicking back a bit and letting the feel come through. And if it's not as perfect and exact as maybe our approach has been in the past, it doesn't really matter anymore. You sit back and listen to it, and really when it comes down to it, someone who's listening to the record is not going to really notice those things. But the approach with this one, and it's evidenced in the fact that we did all our recording in 2 weeks rather than 2.5 months, that this attitude is a much better attitude. I mean, you still get the results and you still have fun and you feel more up through the whole process of recording. So it really is a very concentrated, exhausting thing to do.
Well, who would hold the price on the heads of the innocent children? If there's some immortal power to control the dice.
We went into this record with that attitude. And again, Rupert stressed that he felt that this was the important thing, that the vibe was there and the feel was there. He said, you know, don't get so caught up in recording. I mean, he was up for taking anything from the guides and using it on the record. And they were just recorded on a small 8-track, you know, Tascam portable recorder, you know, a couple steps up from a cassette player. So, you know, that didn't matter to him. It was really the feel, and I think we locked into that.
Roll the bone. Why does it happen? Because it happens. Roll the bones. Roll the bones. Why are we here? Because we're here. Roll the bones. Roll the bones. Why does it happen?
With Presto, we decided that the guitar was going to play a more predominant role again, that the keyboards were going to go on second, and they were just going to be filler enhancements for the coloring of the song, rather than to play a major thematic role. And even more so with Roll the Bones, the guitar even comes up a little bit more. And I think this is probably a direction we'll continue, because I think we've realized that the core of the band is drums, bass, and guitar, and that's really what the important elements are. And that's really what should be developed. Feels better to me. It's a lot, and it's the same for the other guys. They all say the same thing. Having the guitar up there, I mean, there's just so much emotion in that instrument. And, you know, you play off that. Everybody plays off that. And it really has to be in that role. We did an interview not too long ago with a guy from a magazine, and at the end of the interview, he asked if we wouldn't mind signing some records. I said, yeah, sure. Brought some album jackets that he had, Hemispheres, and, you know, some older stuff. And asked him, you know, who's it for? Who should I make it up for? He says, oh, it's for my father. He's one of your biggest fans. I thought, oh, no! This guy, his father. Oh! You know, it's been a long time.
Why are we here? Because we're here. Roll the bones. Roll the bones. Why does it happen? Because it happens. Roll the bones. Roll the bones. You can stick like clay.
I don't know how we got this image. Maybe we wore too many robes in the 70s. But they have this super serious image of us, and it's so far from what our relationship is. And because a sense of humor is really one of the strongest parts of our relationship. If things aren't going good, you know, one of us is going to start cracking a joke about something. And I think you have to be. We really don't take ourselves seriously as people. You know, we take what we do seriously, but you know, there's a time for being serious, and I think people that say there isn't are kidding themselves. You know, I'm spending a lot of time out of my life to do this. That's serious. You know, to give up that much of your life for any kind of work, you've got to feel like the work is worthwhile. It's fun to have a laugh, and we do have a good time doing it, but there's also a side of it that you have to say to yourself, this is meaningful. This justifies the amount of time spent on it. Because, you know, time is the most precious commodity there is.
Why does it happen? Because it happens. Roll the bones, roll the bones. Faith is cold as ice.
I don't really know what's going to happen record to record in terms of complexity or texturally or, you know, whatever. But I think you have to allow yourself the kind of scope and the opportunity to be influenced by certain things, whether good or bad. And we allowed ourselves to be influenced by synthesizers and that kind of orchestration. And it was a fascinating time, and I think we did some really interesting things with that. At a certain point you go, you know, it's time for a change again. And I'm feeling like a slave to this equipment. It's not really enjoying the way I'm using it. I feel like I'm a little bit trapped by it. So whether it's less or more, or just a reaction to all that technology, it was important for us to streamline and get back to some kind of organic style of writing that seemed to be more expressive and less demanding texturally. I think the reason that we still are together is because when we sit down to write a record, stuff starts coming out and we get excited about that, and that is the reason that writing period is so enjoyable for us, because there is this creative spark that we have with each other and a remarkably similar musical direction.
Why does it happen?
Always maintain that if any idea, regardless of how different stylistically it is still valid if everybody likes it. You know, if you want to do it, let's all do it. So there's never been this great hidden desire or this frustration of where I can't do this in the context of band. What I really want to do, I have to do on my own. It doesn't exist here, because what you really want to do, you can do in this band. So that's really helped that out a lot.
Roll the Bones is the perfect title because through all of the thoughts that I go through on the album about all these nasty things that happen and all these terrible things that could happen to you, and a drunk in a stolen car could run over you on your way home tomorrow night, and you could have the best laid plans in the world for what you want to do, but there's still that element of chance that it could all go wrong. But the bottom line of that is take the chance, roll the bones, you know. If it's a random universe and that's terrifying and it makes you neurotic and everything, never mind. You know, you really have to just take the chance, or else nothing's going to happen. You know, the bad thing might not happen, but the good thing won't happen either. So that's really the only choice you have.
Take our chances. Fate is just the weight of circumstances. That's the way that Lady Luck dances.
I would say as many lyrical ideas come from conversation or a TV, just some little twist of phrase that I like and write down, so that by the time I start to write lyrics, I have pages and pages of just little jottings, and some of them don't make any sense to me anymore, but there they are. Roll the Bones is the perfect example. That phrase has been in my notebook for at least 10 years, just waiting to find a home, and finally this time I had the theme of chance, and I thought, yes, Roll the Bones, perfect. So it came out, but still I have ideas in my book still that are even older than that are still waiting to find a home. So again, the discipline comes in just forcing yourself to write it down, which a lot of times is very inconvenient. You know, if you're got your arms full of suitcases and stuff, or if you're just about to go to sleep, there's that classic moment between waking and sleeping when everybody knows a lot of things go through your head. And it takes enormous discipline if you're really tired to get up and jot something down. You know, it's like, oh, I'll remember it in the morning, but of course you don't. So that's the discipline factor of it. So inspiration isn't really so much to do with it as it is I can sit down on the first day of lyric writing and go through pages and pages of stuff and see what connects, and it becomes just craftsmanship then, and having the patience to sit for 3 days looking at a sheet of paper that you don't really believe in sometimes. Quite a few songs on this, well, Dreamline, the opening track, was the very first one I think I started working on months before we started working together. And I just didn't believe in it at all, but something kept compelling me to keep going, and I knew I was all lost in this imagery and I couldn't get everything to go together, and I thought it was just garbage. And I sat for the first 3 days working on it, but I didn't believe in it, you know. I thought, no, it's junk. Every day I'd read over and junk, you know, but at the end of it, I came up with something that was satisfying to me.
The bones, roll the bones. Why does it happen? Because it happens. Roll the bones, roll the bones. Why are we here? Because we're here. Roll the bones, roll the bones.
I was hearing some of the better rap writers, among whom I would include like LL Cool J or Public Enemy, musicality apart, just as writers. It was really interesting, and it struck me that it must be a lot of fun to do that, all those internal rhymes and all that wordplay and everything, which that's meat and potatoes for a lyricist. It's stuff you love to do and can seldom get away with being so cute in a rock song.
Jack, relax, get busy with the facts. No zodiacs or almanacs, no maniacs and polyester slacks, just the facts. Gonna kick some oblivious smacks. It's a parallax, you dig? You move around, the small gets big, it's a rig. It's action, reaction, random interaction. So who's afraid of a little abstraction? Can't get no satisfaction from the facts. You better run, homeboy. Facts are fact from known to known. What's the deal?
So I thought, well, I'll give it a try, and I submitted, actually, I think, the song Roll the Bones without that section to the other guys and got them to like it, and said, well, I have this other thing I've been working on, and see what you think, you know, not knowing how they'd respond, but I'd had the fun of doing it, and I'd been rejected before. My notebook's full of things that haven't made it, too, so that was the situation there, and they got excited about the idea, but then how to treat it was the other question, and we did think of trying to get a real rapper in to do it, and we even experimented with female voices, and ultimately found that treated version of Geddy's voice was the most satisfying as creating the persona that we wanted to get across, and also was the most satisfying to listen to. And with the female voice in it, it wasn't as nice texturally going by, where Geddy's voice treated like that became a nice low frequency sound, and you could listen to it just as a musical passage without having to key in on the lyrics or anything, just let the song go by you, and it was pleasant to the ears. So I think that was probably one of the big factors in choosing that. We'd even been in contact with people like Robbie Robertson. We thought we'd like to try his voice on it, and had contacted his office and so on. And John Cleese, we thought of. We were going to do it as a joke version, get John Cleese in. Jack, relax, you know, get him to camp it up. But again, from the musicality and longevity factors, that would have got tired quickly. You know, that's the trouble with jokes.
Yeah, because we're here, roll the bones.